it's spring. And apparently in the springtime, there's a lot to do outside on 10 acres. And I'm not sure how I'm gonna manage it all. I'm a little worried about it, but I figure if I just jump in and get something done every day, I won't get too far behind, right? In any case, I'm gonna get started. Hey, it's Amy. Welcome to Hummingbird Hill, and as you can see, it is an amazingly foggy day out, and one of the chickens is having a kerfuffle in the coop because chickens do these things. But I guess if I could squeeze an egg out of my behind, I might want the world to know too, I guess. Today is going to be a great day for getting a bunch of stuff done. I'm actually gonna hope that this fog does not burn off too soon. I mean, I can still get a sunburn with the fog on, so of course I have sunblock on. I just don't have to wear my visor right now because I can actually see, and I'm just gonna try and get as much done as I can before the fog lifts. It's supposed to rain. It has not rained, and we went from 28 degrees to 80 in a week with like a brief stopover at 50. And that is frustrating because that means I'm gonna have to start watering things already. And it's just now spring. I am hoping we don't have another year like last year when we went from basically yuck weather to 95 and plus degrees for 4 or 5 months, because that's not a traditional weather, and I know things are not traditional anymore because there's this, change thing happening. Yeah, about that. So I'm hoping that we don't have that kind of summer again because that was brutal, and some of the plants really suffered. Even heat-loving plants like tomatoes did not do as well last year as they did, and I was comforted. I was comforted actually when I was watching Monty Don, who is like Gardener's World, a garden world over in the UK, and I discovered him last spring when I was also looking for information about no-dig gardening, and of course I started with Charles Dowding, which led me to Monty Don and then to a whole bunch of other people. But he said last summer that people's tomatoes had been suffering around the world, and that made me feel better because I'm like, what am I doing wrong with my tomatoes? They're usually brilliant and the weather is hot, which is great for tomatoes, but apparently last year not so great for all the tomatoes. So I felt a little bit better. It's always nice to know that when things are happening in the garden that are different or odd. Hello, Goofy, I see you. Roosters. Are different or odd, that there's a reason for it, or at least something that extends beyond something I could have controlled. Like, I was trying to figure out how to fix it. I was trying to figure out how to make it better, but I couldn't. Ace, I see you too. Oh, roosters. So I felt really good about that, at least because there was nothing I could have done better, as far as I know. I'm sure there was something I could have done better, but there was nothing that I knew of that I could have done better. Excuse me, the boys would like to say hello. Hold on. What was that, sir? Can they see you? Yeah. Ace. Oh, you're walking by now? You're walking on by? Little punk rock rooster. Yes, hello. Alright. Hi, mister. What you doing, Goofy? Yeah, that's right. Keep going. Keep going. Go find your girls. Anyway, as I was saying, I've got a lot of stuff to get done today, and I'm not going to do a whole bunch of talking because it's basically just a get spring stuff done kind of day, and I'll see where I'm going to post this. So I will see you in just a bit after I walk down the hill, grab my supplies, and get started digging. One of the things I need to deal with today is my strawberry stump, or what used to be my strawberry stump. This whole area, when we moved in, there was a tree, well actually it turned out to be 5 trees whose trunks had grown together, that was here, and it was gorgeous, but it was dropping like massive chunks of branches on the house. Turns out it had some beetle infestation. So we had to take it down, and of course I had this great stump here, so we hollowed it out a little bit, and I planted strawberries from the parents' old house. They're actually strawberries I had planted when I was 12 at that house, that had spread all through some rose beds. So I'd moved some crowns over here and put them in the upper stump, and then the lower area I had planted there, you could see it's all messy, there we go. This lower end here was filled with the most gorgeous, beautiful strawberries. I made jam, I did all these things, but I didn't really know that you're supposed to refresh your strawberries every few years. And so my supply has dwindled and I haven't maintained them as well as I should have because I just really didn't know. I mean, my old strawberries just kind of grew everywhere and were beautiful and amazing. These I need to deal with. And then we've got this weed that was here, and it's actually a beautiful flower, some people think, and I didn't even know what it was until Laura on Garden Answer put a picture of it and I found the name, and so I did some searching on it. And in Oregon and Washington, that flower, or at least this side of Oregon and Washington, that flower, and I have to look up the name again, I will totally look it up and put it on the screen here, but is considered an invasive weed, and things such as repression with cardboard or silage tarps and things like that don't actually work. And I'm like, no wonder I can't get rid of that thing, because it was invading my strawberry bed. So I did some digging out of it, but the problem is I did not get it all. It's actually coming down here. See, I've got all these bulbs, but this little thing is growing up outside of the area where it was. And so I need to dig up this whole line here, which is not going to be fun because it's a lot of compressed gravel and such, because we have a gravel driveway. So that is something that I need to work on today, and I'm just going to be tidying up the top of the stump because I got some new perennials to put on top. I wanted to add flowers to the top of the stump right now because right there, because that is an area that Mom, well, before she went blind because of her medications, could see from her chair in the house. And as you see, we've got all kinds of spring messes out here we have not cleaned up at all. So that's kind of something I'm going to be working on coming up. But right now, this area is one of the goals for today. So I'm going to get started, and I will see you in just a second. Oh yeah, I totally forgot to say that though I am working on practicing no dig in my garden right now, because this is an invasive weed situation and I want to get rid of it before it spreads in more places, the flowers themselves are actually poisonous to animals. I am digging up this dirt and will be disposing of it as opposed to doing some other methods, because that's really the only way to get rid of this stuff before it spreads a ton. This little fence is my pathetic attempt to keep the chickens away from my strawberries until last year when we got Snap, Crackle, and Pop. Unfortunately, Pop passed away in the fall. But Snap and Crackle taught the other chickens how to eat my strawberries, because before that, they totally left them alone. Chickens. This is also going to be difficult because I have planted this bed with a whole bunch of new bulbs in the fall, and they're coming up and they're starting to be beautiful, and I may have to sacrifice a few. Hopefully I can just kind of dig around them and then put them back in. My daffodils do great with that because the chickens keep picking them up, so I'm hoping the rest of these bulbs are quite as hardy. We'll see. So one of the problems that I'm having is these little guys, even though I dug down about 1.5 feet, removed all the soil, got out all of the bulbs that I could possibly get out as far as I knew, these, if there's just even a little bit of root left, will grow back. And I thought I got it all, but apparently I did not, especially in this one section. So I'm digging up the bulbs that are there. I'm going to put them back in. Hopefully they will do fine. I had to dig up a lavender, which will repot fine because lavender's tough. But this is going to be more digging than expected. Okay, one, forgot the gloves again. Actually, the last pair were too full of holes, so I need to get some more. But this is gonna take forever, and I'm not gonna speed up this much time because literally I have to come through. Hold on, let me show you. So here's the problem. Let's see what you can see here. There we go. This is what I want to get rid of. As you can see, it's surrounded by some bulbs that were buried too deep in the compost, a plant, some more bulbs, and then all of these little shoots that come down here, I have to get down and dig, and these guys are super deep. So I have to be careful. As you can see, I'm pulling some bulbs out that were too deep anyway, and I'm gonna move them. Hopefully they make it, we'll see. But this is gonna take more than a bit of time. So I'm not gonna film this and fast forward it because that's gonna make this way too long. My videos are way too long anyway. So there you go. So I'm gonna pause you, I'm gonna work, and I'll come back to you later in my next project. I'll show you how this looks after, and we'll talk about how it goes later. Weed control, one of the biggest things I'm dealing with here. And even though this is a pretty kind of sort of thing, I don't like it. It's an invasive weed in my area, and I don't want it. So I'm gonna try and do my best to get it out, but this is gonna be an ongoing process, I think. I probably, ideally, should have dug all this out, super mulched it, and not planted this year so that I could get those weeds up. That would have been a smart move. But again, when mama buys, you know, 300-ish bulbs and says, here, I want flowers, you gotta find some place to put them, right? I'm gonna get back to work. Okay, as you can see, the sun is starting to break through. It is getting super bright out here, which means even with sunblock on, I need to get myself under some cover until this area gets some more shade. But there are a couple things I wanted to talk to you about, things I learned while trying to dig up more of this weed. One, this weed is crazy, and yes, it's a flower to some, but I can't find, I buried it. Some of the, oh hi, and gloves. Yeah, could use those. Would have been helpful. Some of the pieces I was digging up were over a foot long, and there's no way I'm going to be able to get them all. So I'm going to have to come out here and be vigilant with snipping off the tops. That doesn't necessarily work, but it'll at least hopefully keep it under control. Make sure that I don't let any of the flowers get to seed heads, because the seed heads spread crazy like. But also, some things here, I just had to use the soil I had on hand. But when someone is helping you spread mulch, remind them that like a foot thick is probably a little too thick. My bulbs are struggling to come through. I was wondering why so many on this end were a little later. That's because I think someone just dumped the last wheelbarrow here. And by someone, I mean my dad, who's awesome, but sometimes likes to get things done quickly. So do I, but I kind of take after him that way. That said, I'm gonna get myself out of the sun because now I can't see. Actually, I'm gonna find Basil, who's come out to help me. And then I'm gonna get myself inside and have some breakfast because it seems to be time for breakfast. The sun's out, right? Basil, let's go. Come on, lady. Boop, boops. Basil, let's go. Let's go, girl. You're sniffing. Come on, babe. Door. Let's go. Good girl. Basil. Door. Yes, you good girl. Oh, you're so good. You're so good. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go, girl. Oh, there's a little snake that well, it's actually not a little snake, that lives down in these grasses that Basil likes to keep hunting for. But it bites her, so that's not a good thing.